Well, so I'm starting a series called Family Wisdom that I just wanted to share with our community, with our clients. Not only are you potentially buying a home, but you have a life and you have a family and things going on. And in our family, we have a lot of, I believe, wisdom. Our family, many people in our family are involved with serving other people. And that includes my mom, Margaret Phillips. And she is with me today. She has been a marriage and family counselor for 36 years and brings a lot of wisdom. She's written a book. She's written a book called The Marriage Arc. And just thought I'd bring her on to share a little bit. I don't know who this would be helpful to, but maybe there's somebody out there that this would be beneficial to and specifically we wanted to talk today about marriage. It feels like at least a week doesn't go by that I don't hear about somebody that is struggling in their marriage, or you haven't heard from them in a while and you find out they're divorced. It frankly is kind of depressing. And I know a lot of people do struggle. So I guess just share some wisdom with us about what makes a marriage work, what struggles you're seeing today in marriages, and help us. We need help.
Okay, I need about a week.
Yeah.
But I will bring this down because I believe in clarity. I believe in specifics. So I believe that there are pillars to marriage, which I call love, trust, and respect. And if one of those pillars is down, it's hard for the other two to stand. So let
me just process that for a second.
Yeah.
Love, trust,
and respect.
Okay, all kind of related, but yeah.
Right. And of course, the Egriches wrote a book called Love and Respect that was very popular, especially in our churches. But I believe the love, trust, and respect have to be there. And it's just so easy to say those words. They're words, but the depth in those words, do you really love? And I'm going to say that when you say I do, you love some, but so much of that early beginning is fantasy. And so I do a lot of premarital work, and in the premarital work, I say, I'm here to pop all of your fantasy bubbles because they're going to pop and then we're going to be into reality. I could sit here and talk for a really long time about the culture and what the culture is setting up that will not work if you're going to play the long game. If you play the long game in marriage, you won't enter with all the tools you need. You're going to have to find out what you need and then develop it.
Yeah.
I remember doing a class down at Belmont Church for men who were married to abused women. And we went through the specific kind of tools these men are going to need in their, what I called their ministry to their mate. That's actually one of the chapters of my book is that. So you're going to be stretched in ways you've never been stretched to learn how to love. So this is the big laboratory. And if you want to do the long game, our problem with that and the challenges in it in the culture are the fact that we are so used to instant gratification.
Yeah.
We don't really have those muscles yet to do the long game.
Yeah. So you fall in love, and it's all just puppies and roses and rainbows, and and then you get, and so you say I do, but you're not really prepared for the long journey. We all, and I think everybody goes into it with good intentions. They genuinely mean it, like till death do us part, 50, 60-year marriages. That's what people want, but it sometimes goes off the rails so fast.
One analogy I like to use is that the marriage is like a net. And I say that every knot tied in that net is a promise kept. So learning to keep your word, pay attention to your word, keep your word, that here's our trust piece. And also that involves love. If I love somebody, so 2 questions when we get married that are in our heart, whether we know it or not, are, do you love me and do you care? And we're going to start testing that out. Mm-hmm. So we want our mate to pass the test. So whatever they say, well, what I say in my office is die trying to do it. I don't care if you die on your way to do it, but try your best to keep those promises. Tie as many knots as you can, because life is going to put pebbles down in that net that have to be held. But later in life, it can put some boulders down in your life, and you got to be able to hold those. Our firstborn child, who I happen to be sitting with right now,
The favorite.
was born in Africa, and I had the fantasy of having this sweet little baby I brought home, and I just rocked and cuddled. But our little baby cried incessantly, and I'm 5,000 miles away from home. That's a boulder. Gary would come home after doing a lot of his work on the mission field, and he opens the door, I'm standing there in a robe with tears down my eyes going, help me.
Yeah.
And Joshua had a congenital problem when he was born, and we didn't know that, and eventually had to make a big flight home. My husband just passed away of 55 years in our marriage, and I didn't know that the last year and a half of his life he was going to be diagnosed with leukemia, that he was going to be living on a feeding tube, that our life was going to totally change and turn upside down. These are things, I hope you don't have to go through those things, but life's going to hand you some stuff.
Yeah.
And you're going to get disappointed. Mm-hmm. And you're going to be let down.
Yeah.
And I have a concept of critical points. And at those critical points, you make a choice for which way you're going to go. Am I going to pull back? Am I going to love less? Or am I going to press in?
Yeah.
And these are muscles that I don't feel like we've built. I think you can go to the physical gym, but I talk in my office about going to the mental gym and working out your mental muscles.
Yeah.
To endure, to go the long haul, to love more deeply than you've ever loved.
Yeah.
So I do want to say before we end, the payoff is amazing.
Absolutely.
It is to have that kind, to experience that kind of love in this earthly life is just amazing. And I believe that is the Edenic promise that God made to us, that we can have that, because on the cross, Jesus took fear, shame, and guilt. These are the deterrents to intimacy.
Yeah.
We have that possibility today.
Yeah. I've said this on several occasions to young men, who are married, that, you're chasing success, you're chasing money, titles, whatever, but nothing is going to make you as wealthy as a good marriage.
It's awesome.
And I wouldn't trade $1 billion for it. I mean, you wouldn't trade anything for it.
No.
All that to say, it's worth going through the effort to make it work, and not pulling back when it gets hard, but leaning in. And it's worth the effort. I feel like we could do maybe we can do a part 2, part 3. This maybe we just, I guess 10 minutes isn't probably enough to really cover all the way we could talk about with marriage. So if we could just leave you with just saying that it's worth it, that you have to work at it, that, many of you, someone that's maybe watching this needs to get into counseling. You've never been into counseling, and you need to start talking. You need to start communicating. I love the saying that love is a function of communication, right? Or maybe it's communication is a function of love, but just the idea that you got to communicate.
Yeah, we say dialogue is the lifeblood of the relationship. Yeah. And if that gets cut off, it's like putting a tourniquet around your arm, and it's going to wither. So communication's a huge piece of it. Of course, I do a lot in my office with intimacy. People have I'll just say this, we're just the most sexualized nation we've ever been, and yet we have less ability to have intimacy of that I've ever seen in my years of doing this.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I hope it's been a blessing. Maybe there's some little piece that, we are both Christians and believe that God speaks to us through things. So maybe a little something that we've said sticks with you and causes you to start down a more positive path in your marriage. When you start to see the signs, like, don't ignore them. You've got to take action. You've got to get up, do something about it. Don't go hide in your room or go watch TV and start living separate lives. You've got to take action. And maybe for someone watching, this is your call to do that, to improve or save your marriage.
And you may not have any clue what that action's going to be.
Yeah.
But that's why we are professional marriage and family therapists. We're trained to help you get unstuck. We know directions that will work. We know directions that will not work. And we can help you with that.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing in our little series called Family Wisdom.